A profanity-laced post, a Supreme Court showdown, and U.S. President Donald Trump right at the center of it all. The controversy erupts just hours before a historic Supreme Court hearing as Democratic Congresswoman Susie unleashes a now-deleted, profanity-filled social media post targeting the president. Those were her exact words in response to reports that Trump would personally attend the hearing, but within hours, the damage was done. The post was deleted, but not before screenshots spread like wildfire across social media. The backlash was immediate, with critics flooding comment sections, condemning the language used by a sitting lawmaker. And as the outrage built, Susie returned online, attempting to explain her outburst. Quote, "Clearly, my language touched a nerve. My nerve was touched by the attacks on our Constitution and its separation of powers. I took an oath to protect and defend it." A defense framed around constitutional concern, but one that did little to slow the viral storm already in motion. And then, all eyes shift to the Supreme Court, because at the heart of this political explosion is a case that could redefine American citizenship itself. On Wednesday, Donald Trump arrived at the United States Supreme Court to personally watch oral arguments over his executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship, a move that instantly made history. No sitting U.S. president has ever attended Supreme Court arguments in person before, and that unprecedented presence triggered fresh alarm from his opponents. They warned that his appearance inside the courtroom could be seen as an attempt to influence or even intimidate the justices. The policy at the center strikes at the 14th Amendment. Trump's executive order seeks to deny automatic citizenship to children born in the United States if their parents are in the country illegally or on temporary visas, a direct challenge to the long-standing interpretation of the 14th Amendment, a legal foundation that has defined American citizenship for generations. Inside the courtroom, the questions turned sharp and pointed. Both conservative and liberal justices pressed hard on whether the president's order can stand under the Constitution or federal law. The argument stretched beyond 2 hours inside a packed courtroom filled with power and influence.
The administration's argument is that the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause does not extend citizenship to children born of people who are in the country illegally or temporarily. The argument the administration makes is that the phrase in the amendment that says subject to the jurisdiction does not apply to people who are here illegally or temporarily. The justices did not seem to broadly embrace that argument. They questioned Trump's Solicitor General D. John Sauer at length about his argument, and both conservative and liberal justices seemed highly skeptical about the arguments that Sauer made.
Among those in attendance were Attorney General Pam Bondi, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and even actor Robert De Niro seated among guests. Trump himself remained inside for just over an hour, listening as Solicitor General D. John Sauer presented arguments defending the administration's position. But then, a noticeable shift. The president exited the courtroom shortly after Cecilia Wang, representing civil liberties interests, made her stance clear. She said she is confident that the Supreme Court will, quote, turn back this president's effort to radically rewrite our 14th Amendment rule of birthright citizenship.
I come out of the court today with the thought of my parents and so many of our parents and ancestors who came to this country seeking refuge, seeking new opportunities, and who relied on the rule that we've had in this country for 150 years, that everyone born here is a United States citizen, all alike. And I'm confident that the court is going to turn back this president's effort to radically rewrite our 14th Amendment rule of birthright citizenship. We have a nation of millions on our side, and we couldn't be more confident about our arguments here. Thank you.
Cecilia Wong was exceptional today in giving the entire court and everyone in attendance a lesson on the Constitution, on stare decisis, and on separation of powers. We stand with the ACLU with all immigrants in this country, and we ask the court to uphold the law, its own law, that is over 150 years old, that it must adhere to, because birthright citizenship is foundational to the 14th Amendment. Thank you.
I was especially gratified that President Trump was sitting a mere 6 feet away from me. And I hope that he was schooled in the importance of birthright citizenship. I am confident that we will win this case and that the future of this country will be determined by our Constitution, by our civil rights statutes, and not by the whim of a president who wishes to wipe away hundreds of years of precedent. Thank you very much.
A direct challenge not just to policy, but to presidential power itself. And now, all signs point to a high-stakes decision ahead, because early signals from the bench suggest the Supreme Court may be leaning toward rejecting the restrictions, a potential setback in one of the most consequential legal battles of Trump's presidency. From a midnight social media outburst to a constitutional showdown, this story now stretches across every level of power.
Representing a class of mothers and their children, Cecilia Wong, the legal director of the American Civil Liberties Union, had a much easier time with the justices. Over the course of about an hour, the intensity of the questioning fell off, which often is a sign about how the justices are prepared to rule. Wong did face questions on one particular issue, relating to an 1898 Supreme Court decision known as Wong Kim Ark, which extended citizenship to the U.S.-born child of Chinese nationals who are in the United States. The opinion uses the word domicile some 20 times, and the administration argues that it is limited to people who are here legally, unlike the class of temporary and illegal visitors that the administration says should be excluded from the birthright citizenship.